It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we move into Summit Friday here on the show. Gary, how are you?
I'm just, can't stop laughing reading the headlines.
Yeah?
Here's one headline. President Trump, Democrats are led by insane people. Trump says Pocahontas needs a drug test. What a day it was again yesterday. I just was handed this story, though. The NFL teams, again, will stencil messages in the end zone, including end racism and choose love.
Oh.
We congratulate the NFL for, again, reminding Democrats to end the racism of identity politics.
Right. And to choose love, yeah.
And to choose love, to stop hating Democrats.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Listen to what the NFL is telling you.
Right. Exactly. Choose anger. See, that would not look good in the end zone. You know, with a little emoji face painted next to it, big old emoji face, angry emoji face.
I could see the NFL. Oh, this really we need to come up with something else. Choose anger if it's against Trump.
Yeah.
Put that in the end zone.
Right. Or trying to stay neutral. Choose whatever. They might as well just do the whole Alex Lifeson thing, just in the end zone. Blah, 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 blah.
And choose blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Rebroadcast of this game is prohibited unless you get permission from the NFL and Jerry Jones. Yeah, it's... I may not have that as accurate as it needs to be. But it's just so weird. It's just so weird. And racism and choose love.
And remember,
hey, what's next? What's next? Don't murder anyone. I mean, because it sounds like they're just grabbing these big things and these generalities.
Well, remember, this all comes from the left.
Yeah.
This all originally comes from the left, as we all know. Starting with, by the way, is any quarterbacks hurt yet? Any Kaepernick news? I may ask this until the day I die.
Right.
Just for the fun of it.
Right.
Kaepernick getting any feelers out there?
Right.
Anything going on there? But
he's ready. I don't know what he's ready for, but he's ready for something.
But I mean, if you're truly going to support the left, because the NFL, you got to realize this NFL. Listen to us here.
Yeah.
We're giving you solid advice. It's not the summer of 2020 anymore.
No.
That's gone.
Right.
That's history.
Right.
If you're going to continue supporting the left, you can't put messages out like this. The left does not want to hear choose love. They don't want to hear that.
No.
They're not in the loving mood right now.
No.
And then racism, for gosh sakes, identity politics. Think about this. NFL, you got to pay attention. Jerry, listen. Oh, no, wait. He doesn't care about the message. He just cares about money. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry's going, whatever the hell you got to throw in the end zone, just throw it in there as long as it brings out cash. But look, we understand that probably the majority of our ticket holders are conservative, so make it very subtle, but we've got to be politically correct. No, you don't anymore. It's not the summer of 2020.
Right.
Because if you're going to put the true liberal message in, it should say support shoplifting.
Right.
You should
abolish ICE.
Abolish ICE, right.
Defund law enforcement.
Right.
Are you going to take a stand for something? Because you're not catering to conservatives or independents.
Remember, the left.
You're trying to appease the far left.
Right. And the NFL, don't you understand that when you put those messages on there and then jet fighters scream across at the beginning the left is going crazy? First off, they don't agree with your message 5 years after.
Right.
The summer of 2020.
Right.
They don't want to choose love. They don't want to end racism. They're dedicated to identity politics. And then you've got the military-industrial complex message being flown over all the stadiums in just a couple of weeks for opening day.
Right. Can't have that.
For God's sakes, NFL, get your damn messaging up to par.
That
if
is
you're going to
so 2020.
Right, if you're going to support the left, but get your money from conservatives.
Exactly.
From conservative men.
Who have 4 mortgages on their house. At Jerry World.
For their personal seat license.
I like the city of Arlington. For those that don't know, the Jerry World, the AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys, is in Arlington, Texas. And it's right down the road from our old studios. And the city of Arlington, like a lot of cities, they throw in a bunch of cash. And it was announced that they're paying it off, their share off early. Mm-hmm. And they claimed they saved, by paying it off early, they saved $122 million. And I said, well, versus what? Not versus not doing it at all. But, yeah, it's like, we had a coupon. Yeah, that's not how that works. But anyway, it was like, okay, that's fine. But I'm thinking to myself, Arlington's like, yeah, we want to get out of this. We want to be done with the whole thing. It's just weird because it's not even, if you said that to 5-year-olds, end racism and choose love, they'd look at you like, and
well, the only one who probably could get away with it would have been Mr. Rogers. It's time to choose love, boys and girls.
They missed their boat. They had an opportunity years ago. They didn't do it. See? NFL, come on. Get with the program. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird.
Okay, here it is. All 32 teams will feature an end zone message of their choice at each home game throughout the season.
Of their choice.
Selecting from 4 options: end racism,
okay,
stop hate, choose love, inspire change. They're going really generic now.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
We need to evolve to some really generic things that mean absolutely nothing.
Right. Smile. Just
I think they should put in,
don't be a jerk.
No, don't worry, be happy.
There you go.
Inspire change. Once again, it takes all of us will be stenciled in the opposite end for all games.
All right.
The only change from 2024 is inspire change that replaces vote.
I guess they're not worried about the midterms.
Oh, my gosh. These messages will complement the league's other cause campaigns, such as Salute to Service and Crucial Catch.
Oh, all right.
We are working hand in hand with players and alongside our clubs to amplify players' voices. Oh, you mean like the interviews they do where they say nothing?
Exactly.
And underscore what's most important to them. I want to inspire change. What kind of change?
Yeah. What kind of change?
So you support
and to who?
Well, you support. So does the NFL support Trump? Inspire change?
Right.
Is it partly still on Obama? They realize that everybody's given up hope, so inspire change, but leave hope out of it?
Yeah, there is no hope. So we'll just move on to change.
It takes all of us. Does it really?
Well, by the way,
I would say, take all of us?
I would say that is a good message for Jerry Jones. Jerry, it takes more than you. But it's just, again, why not just like puppies? with an exclamation point. Hey, everybody loves puppies, right? Yeah. Yeah. Let's just put puppies with an exclamation point. All right. All right. Make that one of the choices.
No, but you put that. I'm telling you, you want to bring out emotion and send a message to people. You actually have a point there.
Yeah.
Where you would put, protect animals, treat puppies, or treat puppies right or whatever. And then at halftime on the big screen or when there's a timeout, one of the sad things, you'll see it that the SPCA puts on the 2-minute ads.
Right.
Or the ASPCA puts on those
those
ads, and there's the dogs. You'd have the entire stadium crying. You want to get a message out that that people would relate to.
Right.
It's like, oh, all right. Call this number right here to give $19 a month. It'd be like the best fundraiser ever.
Exactly.
Everybody's drunk.
Right.
Save the puppies.
I'm with stand-up comedian Kathleen Madigan. If you want to do that right, get Sarah McLachlan to hold a gun during the commercials. Listen,
I didn't hear that
you
one.
better,
Oh my God!
I love Kathleen Madigan. You better give or else. I mean, it's if you wanted to get people's attention. Here's the thing: they're sitting around a room. Again, we go back to the meeting thing.
Yeah,
and it's all right. So. Well, we can't use the vote because this isn't an election year, and the midterm's a little too far away, so we won't use the vote. How about clean your room? No, that's not good.
No, I like that one. I think let's give some practical advice. That should be at the end of the end. Clean your damn room.
Oh no, I would say this.
You got to put damn in there, though.
Yeah.
It's not enough to clean your room.
Well, by the way, the problem that I have with the puppies thing is that people take that too far. I'd be sitting there, drinking my emotional support beer, and they're going to start bringing a bunch of animals to the game. I have to have my dog with me.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm flying early tomorrow afternoon. That'd be great. Can I have an emotional support beer?
I need an emotional support beer.
Can I have a double emotional support vodka on the rocks?
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm not an alcoholic.
Right.
This is emotional support.
It's for my well-being. It's just, and by the way, I am kind of getting tired of people bringing on their emotional support babies. Those young couples need to stop it, and stop it now. But, this NFL thing is they're sitting around a room and racism. Because here's the thing. You want to be the person in that meeting that goes, nah, I don't think we should put that on there. Really? What's wrong with you, Watkins? Could you report to HR after this meeting, please?
That's right. You couldn't be in the meeting and say...
You can't say no.
We need to move on from end racism. What, you're for racism? No, we just use that message enough. Why can't we say, come on, people, get together, let's love one another. Remember the song?
Yeah. Get together right now. Ready, go.
Smile at your brother. That's one. Smile at your brother.
Yeah.
Everybody get together. Try to love one another.
Right. And if you can't find a partner, use a wooden chair. But there's the problem with this whole thing. I don't know why I went Elvis on that. But here's the problem with that whole thing. The next one is choose love. And then someone in the back of the room, I hate that. You can't be that guy. So it was just consensus by default.
Everybody in that meeting is completely paranoid. It's like, any responses? Total silence.
Yeah.
This is what we've come up with.
It's great.
No, I agree.
It's great.
I agree. Gotta have that. Gotta have that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. It's good.
Oh,
good to go.
Man.
It's
thank
just
you,
weird.
Thank you, Alan, for giving me that story.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it yet. That
Yeah,
the NFL
I love that.
teams are going to be doing that.
Well, how about this? Don't be a jerk. Put that in the end zone. That would get people's attention. Don't be a jerk. Look, yeah.
I was going through one of the streaming channels the other day, and it was First Blood.
Oh,
yeah. It was, and it was it was the part where they thought they had killed Rambo in the in the cave.
In the cave, yeah.
It's like, oh, this, and then whatever, the guy was his boss. I can't think of what his name is, but he goes,
yeah.
Here lies John Rambo.
Richard Crenna?
Yeah. Medal of Honor winner. Killed for vagrancy in Jerkwater, USA. I just love it.
Great.
When I saw that the first time, I burst out laughing. It's supposed to be a serious moment. I'm like, did they want laughter at that moment? Because that's what they got from me. It was such a great line.
It was a great line.
And the way Richard Crenna said that was just,
Jerkwater. I love it. All
right. We got a show.
We do.
We have no idea.
And it's football season.
And remember, we here at Red Eye Radio want you to choose like.
Yeah. Choose
like.
Yeah. Choose tolerance, and by that I mean just barely tolerate people. Okay, fine. All right, fine. I guess if I have to be here, fine.
866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Keep your engine humming in the heat this summer by keeping up with preventive maintenance. Think your PM is complete after your oil is changed? Think again. There's grease, transmission fluids, and gear oil to consider too. Grease, for example, is made of oil, thickener, and additives. It provides rust protection by preventing water spray-off and wash-off on equipment like the universal joint, fifth wheel, and clutch throwout bearings. It also helps protect major greasing points like tie rod ends, spring pin bushings, kingpin, and the chassis. Today's synthetic oils means more miles between engine oil changes, but greasing intervals aren't growing at the same pace. Your fifth wheel, for example, needs to be greased every 15,000 miles or monthly.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. One more point here. We just want one more point about the NFL now, and they're going to include they're going to have the end racism, choose love, stop hate, inspire change. It takes all of us, the normal stuff. But they got to understand this is not 2020. Social justice from 2020 has got nothing to do with social justice, what they perceive as social justice today.
Right.
Social justice today is critical race theory. The NFL needs to get up to up to where the left is today, and that is the fact that they should say whites are racist. That's what should be in there, because that's where the left is on critical race theory, and all this came from the left in the summer of 2020, as we all remember. The other thing is social justice today is different than 2020, because if the NFL had any guts at all, if they weren't gutless, they would this year on the sidelines all transgender cheerleaders.
Right. Why aren't they moving toward that?
So everybody on the left understand the NFL just wants to throw some words at you, thinking they can placate you from the summer of 2020.
They're not actually doing anything.
They're not doing anything. If they were going to do anything, transgender cheerleaders on the sidelines.
That's right. By the way, if that happens, you can blame Gary.
Yes.
It was his idea.
Speaking of racism, man, the stuff that came out yesterday, the crime in D.C.
Yeah.
We'll get serious now.
Yeah.
All coming up.
Wow.
Catch Watch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. I just want to say one thing here that I just got to mention the passing of somebody who I knew, whatever. A great radio guy, a guy by the name of Art Wander, who was this guy reinvented himself all over the place. He is the program director that started out the careers of Rick Dees and Dan Patrick. He was a programmer all over the United States. And in his 60s, because he died yesterday at the age of 98. I didn't know he was that old.
Wow.
But he became, in the late 80s, when the Bills, I was just thinking about that because we were talking about the NFL, when the Bills had their run in the Super Bowl in 89, and the Bills hated him.
Yeah.
But he is a guy who told me once, and he was known for this as a programmer, and Eric, you'll relate to this because you've heard this before, that the job of somebody on the radio is to educate, inform, and entertain.
Hold on, I'm going to write that down.
And this guy was the most he was so incredibly entertaining, and he reinvented himself as a sports talk show host. He would have been almost 70 years old when he did that.
Wow.
Or in his late 60s doing it. And I just wanted to make sure I mentioned him because everybody in radio that, in that time, because, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, he was so instrumental. You probably could look at the people that he helped develop in the radio business, and it probably might be 500 to 1,000 people. That's how influential this guy was. And I was blessed to work with him when I was a young talk show host. I mean, I didn't actually work with him. He was on the same radio station, and he was so incredibly encouraging and generous to me. It was, and I just wanted to mention him because his name probably people don't know. In Buffalo, they do because he was the radio talk show host and also got into TV too. But he was a programmer the vast majority of his life. And he said one time, I wasn't really good at radio. Yeah, he was. He really didn't do. He was much more of a programmer and helped develop the careers of so many young people out there, and was extremely influential to me because he told me, he said, you know how to do it. You figured out how to do it. He goes, just continue doing what you're doing, which I believe is just who you are. Just you wanted me to be me. And so I just wanted to mention.
Which, by the way, is one of the toughest things to do. That's kind of the cattle guard you have to cross. If you've got to, which it's an old lesson that they've been teaching in this business for a long time, that you have to share something of yourself. It depends on what kind of format you're doing. But in spoken word radio, so talk radio or sports radio, you kind of have to, people have to know what kind of person you are. You have to be genuine in order to get, that audience to buy into or to show up every day, basically. I mean, that's the goal. And that's, that lesson, and I've had a number of, I guess you'd call mentors, and people in passing that maybe didn't think that they made a contribution or helped me in any way, but like one conversation, there's a number of times one conversation with these radio legends and pros over the years stuck with me, and I used that as something that I could carry to my audience and do a better job. Still working on it, but that's the idea is that you love it I mean, you want to do a good job. If you're doing it right, you love it, and you want to get better every day.
I remember early in my career, I mean, you meet a bunch of different people, and the ones that you remember, especially when you get to this stage in your life and in your career, are the ones that said, be who you are. Be who you are. Then there are the other ones over there. I mean, the top guy in radio going back decades ago, and I think you know who it is. I don't want to mention who it is, though. Once told me, he said, I can make you the next Howard Stern.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, I have no interest in being the next Howard Stern. Oh, that means I just interview the Foo Fighters and Metallica.
Right.
No, but I said I have no interest, and I'll never forget telling my mom about that, and she just paused for a second. And I go, what? She goes, well, how much did they offer you? And I said, why does that matter? And my mother looked at me and said, I want to know how much my son will sell his soul for.
Yeah, right.
I'll never forget. And I burst out laughing. It's like, I have no interest in it. But Art Wander was one of the people that told me, he just said, just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And you know what it was? I was at that point in my career early on where I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So I just went on and was myself.
Right.
Said, you know what, because I really didn't get a lot of direction or anything, which I'm glad I didn't get a lot of direction early on. Because when Art came, he said, look, I've been doing this for decades. Just keep doing what you're doing. If you're genuine and you are who you are, that's what's going to sell.
Yeah.
And he had such a, I didn't spend a lot of time with him. I mean, probably I never worked with him, but he'd come in, while I was doing a show and just say, hey, man, just keep going. Hilarious stuff. Just great stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing, because I realized where he was, what he had done in his career, the people that he had mentored in the past, and he had such a great success, such a great record of success. And then I had heard him on the air, didn't know who he was. I'm like, who's this old guy? The first time I heard him, I didn't know anything about his career. Mm-hmm. And when I found out about it, it just blows there are still people today that don't know it. They just know him as the sports talk show host from Buffalo. They have no idea how many radio talents across the country he helped to develop, not by, forcing them to be a different style,
right?
Cookie cutter, but to say, go do it, do it. Go do it. You want to sit in front of a microphone, if you're going to sit in front of a microphone, then be who you are and have fun.
Yeah.
And, it was such an influence. And when I heard he died yesterday, it hit a lot of people in the radio industry who knew him.
Yeah.
It really, really did. So just want to say rest in peace, Art Wander. So, all right, you ready to go?
What do we got?
All right, here we go. Let's start out with Chuck Schumer. No, not the Baileys. Well, we'll play it.
Okay.
But it was this was Fox News yesterday analyzing Chuck Schumer saying, I'll walk around the Capitol. I feel fine.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing wrong walking around the Capitol. Here we go.
Right.
I walk around all the time. I wake up early in the morning sometimes and take a nice walk as the sun is rising around some of the Capitol and the other monuments and things, and I feel perfectly safe.
It's important to point out that Senator Schumer, like congressional leaders from the Republican Party, also have security details with them full-time while they are here in D.C.
It's important to point out
as
that there's virtually no threat.
Right. I mean, just
wow. Which is something we said yesterday, but I love the way it just
yes.
It's important to point out.
But this is because this is the thing. I just can't believe that you have Democrats and liberals in the media still trying to sell you that Trump is wrong for doing what he's doing here. We said it yesterday. You cannot beat Trump on law and order.
No.
You cannot. No. Democrats, you can't do it. If I'm a political consultant, that's what I tell them. Embrace it. In fact, I think the Democrat that handled it correctly was Mayor Bowser, who said, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to vacation in Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
By the way, I told you in the pre-show meeting that kind of stood out to me, the whole Martha's Vineyard thing with Bowser, because I'm thinking if they've federalized D.C., shouldn't she be going to Camp David?
Exactly. But
I mean, I know she's not president.
This is Morning Joe yesterday.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This
All
is
right.
just.
Yeah.
All I've done this week is laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all serious issues, and I'm not laughing at the issue. I'm laughing at the response from Democrats.
Yep.
Here we go. All right.
The answer to this problem for Democrats is not, everything's okay. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Oh, Washington has dropped 24% or whatever in crime. Well, let me give you some other numbers. The Washington Post took a poll in late April, early May. 91% of Washington residents say crime is a problem. 91%. 51%, it is an extremely serious problem. And John Heilman, we've had people before put this in racial terms. And this is, I must say, this is one thing that I think Democrats have gotten so wrong about crime. Let me just read the Washington Post here. There are stark divides among lines of race and income in the poll, with black residents and lower income residents significantly more worried about crime than white residents and those with higher incomes. As they were last year, black women are among the most concerned, with 65% saying crime is a very or extremely serious issue.
There you go. I mean, it's just so...
Twofold there, by the way.
Go ahead, yeah.
It's Scarborough on MSNBC quoting a Washington Post poll.
And we'll analyze all this coming up here in a little bit, but I want to play, this is from CNN, okay? And Harry Anton doing the polling, all right? Here we go.
Yeah, okay. I think this sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of Democrats.
I'm sorry. We don't mean to be laughing during that. We should have turned off our microphones.
I know, but I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Would you like a little repeat of that?
I would love to hear that again. This is Harry Anton, right?
Right.
So here we go. All right.
Where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues.
They're all equally bad.
I mean, he didn't have to throw that in. That was the thing about it. It was like, oh, man.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
So we'll analyze everything that the Democrats were doing yesterday on this because they're nuts.
Well,
there's nothing. I don't even know where to go on it. Yes, I do. I know exactly where to go on it, and we will.
Yeah, well, it's weird how they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. I thought this would be done by now, but the left isn't done.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Yeah, so what got me yesterday, especially when the poll, everybody was quoting the Washington Post poll, which shows that 91%. The last time, now maybe I understand why the Democrats are fighting and saying, we know that 91% of the citizens of Washington, D.C. are very concerned with with crime. But last time there was a 90-10 issue. The Washington football team had to change their name to the Commanders because the 10% beat the 90%.
Right.
So, but it's completely posterior backwards. Trump is a racist because over 90% of blacks are concerned, way over 90%, because of 91% of all residents.
Right.
Remember, as they say, as the poll was analyzed, again, it's white, higher income that are screaming and calling this racism that Trump wants to protect the majority of people that are concerned with crime who happen to be black.
Right.
He's racist for it.
That's the world in 2020. That's the left in 2025. Yep.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Well, let's start this hour with a Senator Kennedy
Beautiful.
quote, all right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Senator Kennedy on the insanity going on in the Democratic Party. He had said earlier in this conversation, he goes, my God, they're coming out as pro-crime. What in the world's happening?
Right.
He was on with Sean Hannity. Here's what he had to say about the leadership of the Democratic Party, Hakeem Jeffries, and also Chuck Schumer.
And I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know Mr. Jeffries that well. I know Senator Schumer very well, so I say this with respect. Chuck and Hakeem need to go to Amazon, buy some testicles, and stand up to the loon wing of their party.
Oh, wow. Our production staff just went to Amazon.com. They want to see if it's actually true. It's seriously, I could listen to his audio cuts all day. I could listen to him talk all day. It's great pragmatic. Well, in that case, little theater of the mind, and funny and straight to the point. It's so hard to counter him. He's not like, any of the lunatics on the left, that are just crazy. In fact, if you look at how he phrases things, that actually takes a quite a bit of intelligence. He's a pretty smart guy, and the way he just throws it in there, I mean, you don't see him coming. It's curveball after curveball.
I don't know why, but every time I see him speak, I think of Matlock.
Yeah,
he
kind of has that
folksy kind of thing.
Yeah,
not that he sounds like him or dresses like. The thing is, I haven't seen a Matlock episode probably in 30 years. And in my mind, I know he wears a blue suit, light blue suit.
Right. The baby blue suit. I could see, if Senator Kennedy were to just start every statement with, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it would fit right in. That's so funny.
Well, since it's been, there's everything from the beginning of the show has just been hilarious because it's just the
reaction
when you observe insanity, it is funny. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to play our audio cut of the week twice today.
Yeah, good.
And this could be the audio cut of the year.
It might be.
And since by the time we get to Friday, we're just so loaded up. We've already played this a number of times. We've put it on X, but it's worth it if you haven't heard it. And if you've heard it, you don't tire of this. That's the thing. We heard this already. No, the reaction is, can I hear it again? Can I hear it again? Can I hear it again? Because you really can't believe it. And we had talked about, and this had come out earlier this week, and it just went mega viral. And it was John Oliver talking about Chuck Schumer, how in Chuck Schumer, for decades, he has been publicly telling everyone that he bases his political philosophy on an imaginary couple.
Yeah.
Which means they don't exist.
Right.
You got to say it both ways.
They've been driving his entire career, he says.
His entire career from make-believe people that he has given a backstory that's going to fry your mind.
Just weird.
Yes. Here we go.
But I actually want to talk less about Chuck Schumer himself and more about two of his favourite people, Joe and Eileen Bailey. They're a couple that throughout Schumer's career he has talked about a lot.
They're a middle-class couple in Massapequa, which is a suburb on Long Island. Joe and Eileen Bailey, this middle-class couple, they bought into Reagan Republicanism in 1980. Joe and Eileen are worried about losing their jobs or their friends' jobs. The Baileys really don't believe in trickle-down. They don't believe in a whole lot of government spending, but they believe in tax breaks for kids to go to college. He's an insurance adjuster and lives in the New York suburbs. By New York standards, he makes $50,000 a year. If he lived in the middle of the country, he'd make $40,000. Wife works in a medical office. She makes about $20,000. She might make $15,000 elsewhere. And, you know, I have guided my political life through the Baileys.
The Baileys have guided Chuck Schumer's political life, which is a little weird given they don't exist. Seriously, he invented them. Schumer first introduced the world to the Baileys in his 2007 book, Positively American, Winning Back the Middle-Class Majority, One Family at a Time. In it, he mentions the Baileys an astonishing 265 times in 264 pages. But he'd apparently been talking about them for years before the book was published. One of his former spokespeople said he's always asking, what would the Baileys think? And to be fair, Schumer acknowledges that some may find this a little weird.
If you ask my staff, I've been talking about and talking to the Baileys for 15 years. I have conversations with them. One of my staffers once said I had imaginary friends to the press. Got me in some trouble. But these people are real, and I respect them, and I really love them, and I care about them.
Okay, sure, but they're literally not real, Joe. But even if you can understand the potential utility of creating a prototypical voter in your head, this goes way beyond that, because Schumer's given the Baileys an unnecessarily detailed backstory. For instance, he said Joe takes off his cap and sings along with the national anthem before the occasional Islanders game. Okay. And when their daughter Megan, oh yeah, they've got kids by the way, told Eileen a friend was caught cheating on a quiz, Eileen was appalled because lying is not tolerated in the house ever. Also, Eileen apparently helps with the clothing drive at her church, and her father had a prostate cancer scare a few years ago. Again, this is a made-up family. None of these people exist. But wait, I'm still not done. Apparently Joe Bailey would never have a goatee. They watch Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives, though Joe pretends not to like either show. They think most baseball players probably take steroids, and if they were to ever go out to a Chinese restaurant, they would order Kung Pao chicken. That is a J.R.R. Tolkien level of gratuitous backstory, and I don't say that lightly. But the Baileys do seem to have a lot of sway over Schumer's politics, as he's brought them up when discussing everything from the 2008 financial crisis to cybersecurity, which he framed as protecting the security the Baileys feel when they go online to buy birthday presents. And to hear Schumer tell it, the Baileys' views can be complicated.
The Baileys are not anti-immigration, but they are anti-illegal immigration. They really dislike the Enron executives who stole money, but they hate the people who burn the flag even more. They are pro-choice. They understand that a fundamental decision like that should be made by the individual, but they're glad their church isn't.
Really? Are you sure about that? And the more you hear about the Baileys, the more it feels like they represent a very particular slice of the electorate. Schumer said that they supported the civil rights and anti-Vietnam War movements because they understood that morality was on the side of the protesters. But starting in the late 60s, when those protesters cursed the returning veterans and Stokely Carmichael advocated armed resistance against the white ruling class, the Baileys were lost, which, fun fact, is both a misleading history of the civil rights movement and what people who never supported it tend to say. And yet Schumer will insist the Baileys' concerns are widespread and that they could just as easily have been the Ramirez's of Port Chester, the Kims of Elk Grove, California, or the Saleems of Dearborn, Michigan. But crucially, for all he talks about how much he loves the Baileys, they don't seem to return that love, because in 2021, he explained how the Baileys had voted in the past few presidential elections.
They voted for Clinton and then they voted for Bush. They're not a member of one party or another. They're independent.
Did they vote for Donald Trump?
Both of them did in 2016. Joe Bailey still did in 2020 with misgivings, but she didn't.
Yeah. The Baileys voted for Trump. And just this March, a reporter actually got an update on their voting history.
You said the Baileys voted for Trump in 2016. They split Trump-Biden in 2020. I'm wondering who they voted for in 2024.
Probably voted for Trump. Probably voted for Trump. But if you ask them why, I think they'd say, above all, crime.
Okay, so to recap, of the 6 votes the Baileys had across the last 3 presidential elections, 5 went to Donald Trump, most recently because of crime, which, for what it's worth, was down in every category last year, with violent crime at its lowest rate in 20 years. They also think the civil rights movement went too far and aren't against immigration, just illegal immigration. And this is the couple who, in Chuck Schumer's own words, have guided his political life. And at this point, it might be worth asking, is that a good idea? Because the truth is, Schumer's devotion to his imaginary friends may help explain why he and the Democratic Party have been so underwhelming in recent years. Because he seems to be focusing a huge amount on the interest of the Baileys from Long Island, while forgetting other voters actually exist. And look, I'm not saying that he shouldn't think about how his messaging plays with suburban middle-class voters with pretty right-of-centre views, or that they're not theoretically winnable in the future. What I am saying is, by tailoring your policies so heavily to them, you are pulling yourself to the right. And in doing so, could be alienating not only the rest of your base, but new voters looking for a party that speaks for them. So, Senator Schumer, at least when it comes to formulating policy, it might be time to break up with the Baileys, which really shouldn't be that hard to do, given that politically, it seems they've already broken up with you.
Now, remember, John Oliver is a far left.
Yes.
Anchor. So.
Yep.
But not anchor, comedian, whatever.
Yeah.
But just hilarious. And you and I at the yesterday, because we played it a couple times, and yesterday we looked at each other and said, well, is this just a delusion with no purpose? Because we can't figure out what the purpose of him creating the Baileys in his own mind was. Now, it's odd and weird to begin with. I mean, the way that he has promoted it. But if you're going to use an example of a voter out there, you would want those voters to share, those imaginary voters, the made-up voters in your mind, to share your values.
Well, that's it. If you're going to make it up, which we like to call, I have a term for that. I call it lying. Then go big.
Well, he did let us know that they were imaginary, even though he loves them.
Yeah.
And
right.
talks to them.
And he also said, they're real and I love them. They're not real. And you're weird.
This is the oddness, the weirdness.
Well, because
of liberalism. It really is.
I understand it gets, very blah, blah, blah when you start going through a poll, if you got a Harry Enton going through. Now, Harry Enton's actually pretty good. I think he actually brings something to it when he's on. But if you're reading it, and it's like in a new poll and blah, 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 and 80% of blah, 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 blah. But at least you could borrow stats from the poll. if you're the Senate minority leader, and at one point was the Senate majority leader, then you could go out and you find those facts of, hey, this is what we know. According to the polls, 80% of women don't want to vote for Trump or whatever it is. You know, they're going to cherry pick it. And they're going to lie, but is that any worse of a lie than the Baileys? It's just bizarre. And why would you, in the fact, like Oliver says, you've got to, he's making up weird details to go along with it. You know, Mrs. Bailey was frustrated in traffic today. You know, it slowed her commute home by almost 12 minutes, and that's not good. That's 12 minutes she can't get. What are you trying to do? He kept it, think about this. In his mind, he's thinking it's working. And we know this because he's kept it going for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, this is working. People love it. People love me talking about the Baileys. No, it's a train wreck because people are wondering what's going on in your brain when you make up this couple. It just sounds weird.
Hey, it's so odd. It really, really, really is.
They have a son named Corn Pop. We won't get into that, but my gosh, it's just bizarre.
I know. This whole week has been, and by the time we get to Friday, and this pattern's repeated for years now.
Yeah.
We get to Friday, we're like, well, nothing. They can't go more insane than they did this week. And then I think, what are we going to be talking about Wednesday of next week?
Like if we go back 2 weeks and listen to the show, it's like, oh my gosh, that was so mundane. Huh. Yeah.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Smart owner-operators make every single week as profitable as possible. One trip is not enough time to be considered profitable or unprofitable, and an entire month may be too much time to manage. 1 week is the right amount of time to deal with efficiently. To do so, look at the advantages and disadvantages of every day of the week. Match trip length to the optimum day of the week. Plan to deliver on the day you have the best opportunity of getting a load. Your personal weekly plan will vary depending on the weekly delivery flow cycle of your region, typical length of haul, personal requirements, and other factors. What's important is to have a specific weekly plan that helps you be successful. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Well, looks like Gavin Newsom has acute TDS.
Yeah.
Here we go. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right. This is just great. Here we go.
I said in a moment ago, wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a third term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around. The rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history.
Has he been hanging out with Schumer?
Well, I have no idea. It's like,
who are the, well, here's the question. Will the Baileys vote for Trump in 2028? Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's pretty funny. I mean, that's what they're back to again.
Yeah,
they're back to Trump's going to run a third term. Trump cannot run for a third term.
Right.
There's nothing Trump, there's nothing his people, there's nothing anybody can do about it. When this term is over, this term is over.
Right.
Now, who knows? You never know. But there could still be a Trump in the presidential future. It
could be a Donald Trump Jr. in there.
Right. But this is how panicky they are right now, because when you revert to something that is not going to happen, it's not in the realm of any type of legal possibility to happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter. There's not going to be an election. States are not going to allow anyone who shouldn't be on the ballot on the ballot.
Right.
Constitutionally speaking. Just ridiculous.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It is Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. So I thought this was interesting yesterday. I want to get this audio cut in here from CNN, because I did notice yesterday and the day before, the narrative started changing a little bit, that the Democrats were trying to make the case that cities in in red states, that they have crime problems too. And it was immediately pointed out, well, yeah, but 95% probably of urban areas in the United States are controlled by Democrats.
Yeah.
And it's local policy that determines what happens with crime.
Yeah.
And they had to quickly move away from, why doesn't Trump take over Chicago or Louisville, I guess, is mentioned here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, you don't understand the Constitution. Washington is not like any other city.
Right. Right.
It is, I think it was a National Review, I said, it is a luxury that Washington, D.C. has a mayor and city council. That's a luxury. The Constitution does not designate that they get to govern themselves.
Right.
It is a luxury. They've been given that opportunity by Congress. No other city is under the same rules and regulations as D.C.
Right.
That's the difference. But let's listen to a little bit of this here. Here we go.
Mayor and a Democrat governor. Go ahead.
Your hometown of Louisville has comparable murder rates and property. So you're saying it's all about the Democratic mayor and Democratic. Would you advise the president to describe Louisville as he describes Washington? Would you support sending the military into Louisville?
But I mean, like,
I want to hear.
Let Scott answer.
Well, Louisville and the District of Columbia are two different places because the Constitution designates.
The president says you can send them into
Scott,
other
you're
cities
exactly
as
right.
well.
But you're exactly right. Louisville is a violent place. We had kids shot at a bus stop. We have an epidemic of violence in Louisville, and it has been under Democratic control for decades. And my state's been under Democratic governor for the last 2 years.
100% agree with that.
Let's look at what.
They're still arguing it, and I don't know of a, I probably can figure a topic, but as of this week, this is a topic where the Democrats don't have 1 point.
Right.
Not one.
They keep getting pummeled on this, and they go back for more. They're not winning this at all, yet they keep trying with the same points, trying to repeat the same stuff over and over again.
I mean, there's nothing. I mean, after the Washington Post poll came out, the racism charge fails.
Yeah.
The authoritarian charge fails.
Yep.
It happens in Republican cities fails.
Yep.
Every argument they use fails. And they're so manic. I mean, there's a manic paranoia almost that
Yeah.
and it's like when you hear it, it's like it doesn't go anywhere. We've gone over this 1,000 times. Just because you start and you introduce your argument by does not make it right at all.
Well, it's weird that this is another political hill they want to die on. The residents of D.C. have spoken.
90%.
We'd like to talk to the 10%. It's probably lawmakers who have security on Capitol Hill.
No, the poll showed it's upper income whites that say there isn't a problem.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And you mentioned that last hour. Yeah. Great point. And that's the thing, which tells you what? Well, it's agenda. But why even jump in on this one? Well, because it's Trump and his stormtroopers. Have they used that this time around? Taking over D.C., trying to make the point that it's racist. It's just bizarre, and you wonder again, what would be next if Trump were to come up with an idea for universal health care, just for the sake of the argument, that was actually a win, that could actually be paid for and wouldn't be an issue, they would be against it. It's Trump's trying to take over, your health care. He wants to change your brain. He's going to have his buddy Elon put a chip in your brain. Well, it's the old adage.
Forget about that. There's got to be something we haven't thought of that they could say about Robert Kennedy Jr.
Oh yeah,
what he would do.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Robert Kennedy Jr.
Right. They would definitely bring that in.
But still, what would they say he would try to do? He's going to force you to kill a bear.
Put a whale's head on your car. You have to Google that if you don't know the story.
Well, but when you see the paranoia of Gavin Newsom, to go back to that,
the fear-mongering here,
where Gavin Newsom, you just wait and see. Yeah, Newsom reminded me of Biden when he did that.
Yeah.
He had the same cadence of Biden.
He did.
When he
said
the
same tone.
Yeah, the same kind of tone of. I went. Is he trying to impersonate Biden? Probably not a good idea.
Right.
But when he was like, one of his people sent me a Trump 2028 hat, and that's the evidence. That's the evidence that Trump's going to rig the election. He's going to run again, and they're serious about it because one of his friends sent me a hat that said Trump 2028. My God. It's just, there's a new level of being unhinged, if that's possible.
Yeah. Well, it's the fear-mongering. They need the masses. They need people to repeat that. Like he's just going to wave a wand and make it happen. And that's the only thing the left can do. Lie and fearmonger. And again, they're not winning on these major issues. They're just not. We want crime. We want crime. We want crime. That's the chant. right now from the liberal left in D.C.
I can see the next DNC.
Yeah.
What do we think of God? Boo. What do we think about safe streets? Boo. What do we think about a secure border? Boo.
And also end racism and choose love. Bring the NFL into it.
And everything's quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Should
Well,
we-
no, that's which is the point we were making.
We want to
earlier.
end racism and choose love.
Crickets.
We can't. We hate.
Crickets.
We hate. We don't love. We hate. We
Right.
practice identity politics. We don't want to end racism.
You should choose to love Trump.
By the way,
if we all come together, we can actually make the 2028 thing happen.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
what they should put in the end zone of the NFL.
Yeah.
Choose to love Trump.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to choose love, you have to love everybody.
Now I just
right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't love, because remember, it takes all of us.
Yes, it takes all of us.
That's the other quote.
Right.
It takes all of us.
Right.
So everyone
Everybody.
has to love.
That's right.
Now, see, I love Gavin Newsom. I disagree with him, but I love him for a variety of reasons. Number one, he brought me great entertainment today.
He provides content for our show.
He provides
repeatedly.
content. Gavin Newsom. I love Gavin Newsom. I love Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
Because they provide great material for our show, which helps to put food on our table.
That's right.
No, seriously, I don't hate anybody.
I don't have
and I
any
know you
hatred.
don't either.
I don't have any hatred.
I don't have any hatred in my heart.
I don't have any hatred.
Whatsoever. They do. The left does.
I don't have a hate-filled bone in my body. If I did, it would be my left femur. But I don't. But we go back to the thing that was, the revelation years ago on the show, and it was, why are they so obsessed? Because this is how they think. They have to go out of their choose love. Remember when Kamala? They tried the whole joy thing for about 24 hours.
Well, Joy's parents thought, look, she's really going to be a miserable adult.
And
let's try to call her Joy and see if that's going to change anything.
Yeah, this is not bringing anybody joy. And then her Veep pick, not too long after that, was saying he could beat up most of the Trump followers.
I am a very loving and caring person. And I want to beat you up, and I can beat up all of you. I can take any of you with one hand behind my back.
One jazz hand behind my back.
One jazz hand behind my back.
Exactly.
You mentioned the jazz hand behind your back wiggling. As
With
the other
wiggling
hand
behind
is
your back. What's he doing
I don't know.
there?
I have that image there. The hand behind the back wiggling, and the left hand raised up and wiggling,
Oh,
waving,
my gosh.
wiggling, whatever.
Well, it's
Nazi salute, whatever you want.
Well, whose mind goes to that? I could beat him up. And how many times have we seen that?
Right.
Who was it that was on? Was it Letterman or Colbert? And they were on the, I could take him. Who was that?
Well, that's a great point.
It was a Democrat that said, get me in the ring with him. I could take him. Was it Biden?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but
I've had the only thing close to that is I think I can beat that guy in golf, or I can beat that guy in basketball, or I'm going to make this save. This guy's not going to score on me. But I've never, in the arena of ideas, ever, not even, because it's not even used as an answer. It's not an answer. It's a statement that's made. They
Right.
started, Donald Trump thinks he's so tough, I could beat him up.
Right. Wow.
I could beat up these Republicans out there. Who thinks that way? People that are hate-filled.
Yeah, right. What's wrong with you, man?
Well, but if you're hate-filled, but you really can't back up your threat,
Right.
and it's obvious that you could not, you probably need to shut up.
Right.
Or I'll beat you up.
Right. Seriously. And also, Trump is a bully.
What? Wait, what? Well, then again, could Walz really pull off, even with his physical threats, could he really intimidate you as a bully?
Probably not. I see him crashing through a table like Chris Farley.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up fine the top of the hour, some economic numbers out yesterday. We will check that. You saw about the Toronto Film Festival canceling that October 7th documentary.
Yeah.
Citing a lack of legal clearance from Hamas. Why Canada can't have nice things?
You need permission. No,
Yes.
you don't. No, we need the blessing from Hamas. What? What?
And I love this headline. New York Times essay, also coming up. New York Times essay, hoping military would stand up to Trump, draws fire on social media. You mean people are promoting a military coup against Trump? In order to save democracy, we need a military coup now.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Wow, made it to a Friday.
We did.
Man, I'm sorry. During the top of the hour, I was just reading about Dershowitz the other day saying about the Obamas. I don't like them as people. I don't know why I found that funny.
That's funny.
So I'm just reading the headline. Dershowitz says, I don't like them as people. And he's a liberal.
Yeah.
A liberal.
Well, I think the left is pretty much done with the Obamas.
I saw a story that said, Democrats are freaking out over Mandami, and Obama called him.
Mm-hmm.
So the party itself, excuse me, the establishment of
the new establishment or old establishment?
The old establishment.
Okay.
The old establishment of the Democratic Party somehow believe that he has some clout.
That Obama has clout?
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't think he has. I don't think Schumer. I don't think Pelosi. I don't think Jeffries. I don't think Obama. I absolutely know Clinton. I don't think any of them have any influence on the new group. I don't think they have any influence on AOC, on Mandami.
No.
The Minneapolis Mandami. I just like that Minneapolis Mandami. I just thought it was hilarious.
The Twin City commies.
Yeah. I think they look at them and say, we're in the situation we are in because of you.
No, I think you're right. I think they look at it and say, well, like they were saying at the end of his second term, at the end of his tenure as president, they were saying, He didn't really do anything for us. I think it is the ushering out of the old guard. Someone else was saying that yesterday. I don't know who it was. I was actually listening on the radio, so I didn't get to see who it was, but they were talking about that. You know, and we've been talking about it. So Adam Schiff, there's really no one jumping out in his defense on the mortgage fraud thing or the leak thing at all.
There's no one. It's almost as if the new establishment, I like that, the new establishment of the Democratic Party has looked at all of them and said, you know something, you've been saying one thing and doing another for the longest time, and you're the ones that got us to where we are right now. Yeah. You backing of somebody like Obama and Kamala Harris, these are politicians, and I'm really not trying to exaggerate here at all, that we're commies.
Yeah. Right.
And we're going to promote socialist, communism, Marxist ideology.
Right.
That's what we believe. That's where we're going to go. Mm-hmm. We're not going to pretend like Kamala Harris did that we have open borders. We're not going to pretend that we believe in the freedom of people in the marketplace. We're not going to do that anymore.
Right.
We're going to send the same message that you are, that we're going to give you everything free.
Right.
We'll just give half the story there, because to be a socialist, Marxist, communist, you have to do that. You can't tell the whole story.
Well, I think it's step number 1 in the rule book. You know, promise all the free things. Yeah. You know, so, it's obligatory. And you're right. And if you think about that and Schumer, you know, the John Oliver thing is very funny because the story is weird, but it's also an indication because John Oliver is hardcore left and activist left. And he's doing a comedy show on HBO, but he's definitely a hardcore left activist. And we've been seeing it, since the whole continuing resolution fallout earlier this year with Schumer. And this is, I think, the ushering of the old guard, the old establishment out. And the thing with the new establishment for the Democrats, they don't need to be ushered in. They're just marching in. They're kicking the doors in and coming in and taking the microphone from Bernie. They're just running in and just boom. I guess they're here. I guess we're doing this thing, and that really is it. Because the person I was listening to, and I'm sorry, I don't have it was somebody that was on Fox News, but I was listening on the radio. But they were talking about what you see in the party, something I mentioned earlier this week in the GOP. And, you know, you got Ramaswamy, J.D. Vance, and we've talked about this, I don't know how many times. And you saw it. It was very evident at the convention for the GOP last summer. This wasn't Mitch McConnell's GOP anymore. And that's a good thing, I think. I'm totally on board for this because I asked during Trump's first term, who's going to fight when Trump is no longer president? Who in the GOP? Who's it going to be? It's Mitch McConnell? No. You know, is it going to be Lindsey Graham? Sometimes. You know, so who's it going to be? Then it's not just young blood or, you know, whatever, you know, phrase you want to use for the younger generation. When you look, I'll say this. If you go back several years and point to Marco Rubio, I didn't have many concerns about Marco Rubio in the past, but if you had said, look, he's going to be a vital part of the party in the future, I would have said, okay, we'll wait and see. You know, when he got with Mike Lee and pushed for and ultimately got in 2017 the increase for the fully refundable child tax credit, you and I were going, what in the world? But on the most part, I think as Secretary of State, Marco Rubio so far has done a great job, and I could see him having a place in the party in the future of the party. President, I don't know. But this is what you see. I mean, I was thinking as going through my mind, and we played Condoleezza Rice audio earlier this week. And by the way, when you were saying on the air after playing that audio, you said, "I just wish." I thought you were going to say she would run for president, but you said she would invite me to golf at Augusta, and which by the way would probably be very fascinating. I'd go just to be somebody's caddy. I don't even know how to caddy. But it's
just make sure there's the cooler. We've got a cooler. I'm going to have a big, you're going to carry my bag, and there's going to be.
I'll do that.
They make the big golf bags with coolers inside.
Oh.
Just make sure I've got ice cold beers.
Okay, no, we'll do that.
That'd be you don't have to worry about telling me the distance of the shot or anything like that.
Okay, right.
But go ahead.
The wind.
But the thing I wanted to, I don't want to get too far off where I was going, which was not the Republicans, but at whether it's Adam Schiff, whether it's Newsom, whether it was, and I'll have the audio cut. I just was reminded of it when this is part of the conversation, and it was Bill Maher talking to Dr. Phil and Stephen A. Smith, and talking about that. It doesn't matter whether it's Buttigieg or O'Rourke. None of them, they're even viewed, even though they're as radical as you can get, they're still part of the old guard, and there's this new guard going in.
Exactly.
And when you've got like Schiff, nobody cares about Schiff. I saw Schiff out there yesterday, not addressing the charges specifically, just, Trump is a dictator and everything else and all that stuff.
Right.
Newsom, they look at Newsom as the old guard. Anybody who is related, isn't AOC, isn't Jasmine Crockett. And I really wonder whether a Mandami AOC, look at somebody like I forgot who it was.
Jasmine Crockett.
No, whether Jasmine Crockett, even if it's somebody that recently was in 3 years ago, whether anybody who has anything to do with the old guard of supporting Kamala Harris and Biden, whether they're out, and people like Mandami and people like AOC and people. Well, I wonder whether Mandami and like Crockett even look at AOC, and she's on the borderline.
That's exactly where
that's my point. I wanted to get.
Well, and that's where I was going with the comparison of the GOP, because you can get a solid list on the right, but it's a revolving door on the left. And why is that? Because of identity politics.
Well,
because AOC eventually is going to become, and to a certain extent is already becoming, the oppressor. Because you're going to be the hero today, the oppressor tomorrow on the left. That's just the way it works.
But the Republicans, the way where they differ is they have somebody who is near 80 years old, who is running the party and is extremely popular. The age thing isn't a big thing.
No, exactly.
With the
it's
Republicans. And you could be in Congress for a significant period of time and still hold clout.
Mm-hmm.
If J.D. Vance, with his still limited experience, but he has still had 5, 6, 7 years in politics, the Democratic Party probably would look at him, the new group, and say, "Nope, sorry, you're part of the old guard. You're part of the old guard."
Exactly.
And I think it's anybody who has been involved. I think they look at Obama, they look at Biden, they look at Harris, and they look at it and go, "You're done. We don't want you in there anymore. You're gone." This is a socialist, Marxist, communist, Democratic Party, and that's where all the leaders are. All the new leaders coming out. All of them. Because still, Bernie Sanders is still in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily age. It is, do they view you as somebody who hates the establishment, that hates what Biden was? He took off. Sanders took off at Harris the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She's aligning herself with billionaires. Right. And then he had to back off of it.
Right.
But even they may look and go, okay, he's not going to be running for president, but he's the one that can get older Democrats to stay with us because we know he's just as communist as we are. For God's sakes, he went on his honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
He went on his honeymoon
in the Soviet Union.
To the Soviet Union, for God's sakes.
Right.
Yeah, okay, he's put up with them, and maybe but he's no threat to us. Let's keep him in there. he'll help pull in the older voter.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about him trying to get
Right.
in the way and muddying up the waters. You know, he can help us write the communist playbook, which, by the way, for them is already written.
And they also view the fact that he was screwed over. That Bernie Sanders, that Sanders was screwed over by the establishment,
the Bernie burn
of the Democratic Party. That he had the lead in the primary until the establishment came in, the Biden-Obama establishment, and said, "You're out." That was their chance.
Hillary was going to always be the nominee in 2016, and he went out west and was. Remember, there was this euphoria building for Bernie out west, and then, nope, sorry. And then at the 2016 convention, remember, the Bernie supporters that showed up, they let them be angry and put on their display for one day, and it was over.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but I look at it, and so I think of all the scandals, and you don't hear the Democratic Party coming to the defense of Brennan, Clapper,
right.
Schiff,
no,
Hillary,
right,
Comey. Remember, Comey had deity status in the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah.
He was viewed as a deity. Nobody's defending any of these people at all. It's like, we don't care.
Right.
Let whatever happened to them happen to them. It's not going to affect where we as the socialist Marxists wish to go in the future.
Right.
We're just going to ignore that. We're independent of that. People view us as independent because really the Mandami thing, he's viewed as an outsider.
Oh, yeah.
He's a complete outsider. And so it's like,
I heard somebody say, somebody was doing a man on the street thing, and it was, oh, yeah, he's a fresh face. It's like, his ideas aren't very fresh. We've been here before.
But the Democratic Party hasn't changed. What they're telling the people is the exact same. They've been socialist for a significant period of time.
Yeah.
The Green New Deal was communist. So, I mean, that's going back already back to, 7, 8 years ago.
Right.
So they fully embraced it. It's still the imagery. And the imagery is all the old people you didn't succeed. Let the new Marxist socialists succeed. It's our time now. It's not Hillary's time.
Right.
It's our time.
Exactly. I'm the boss. That's what AOC keeps saying.
And I sense politically that's what's going on right there. And that's why you don't see anybody defending all of the Democrats that were involved in the Russia collusion hoax and everything else.
Right.
There's not much support.
If there was, if it ends up that some of them go to jail, oh, well.
Doesn't affect us.
It doesn't affect us because they're not useful. They're not part of the future anyway.
It doesn't affect the movement.
Exactly. Right.
And if you're a victim of the movement, well, that's what happens.
Yep.
The movement is more important.
That's right.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So you heard something on Fox. You were watching, listening.
I was listening to it on the radio, and and
somebody said the same thing I said about Gavin.
Because you mentioned just a minute ago that even Gavin Newsom is part of the old establishment for the Democrats, and this person, it was just yesterday with Brett Baer, said the same thing. And he's almost phrased it verbatim the way you did, and it's. Everybody sees it for what it is. The Mamdani thing is going to be good for the GOP because if he wins, and his numbers are pretty good right now, that policy is going to fail drastically. Not that I want that kind of pain inflicted on the people of New York, but if they choose it, I can't do anything about it.
We believe in democracy.
We believe in democracy, and if they want to try this little experiment, because they're going to buy into it, then okay, let's see how it goes. But it will be good for the GOP.
Here's Bill Maher talking about with Stephen A. Smith, and I don't think Dr. Phil talks in this one, but about Republicans wanting AOC or Jasmine Crockett up there. Here we go.
everything that he's done, but I'm not going to castigate him and talk about him like and call him everything but a child of God, like some of our politicians on Capitol Hill are doing, thinking that that's going to work to the benefit of the Democratic Party. When you listen to Jasmine Crockett or an AOC and the way they talk about them, even an Elizabeth Warren to a lesser degree or what have you, the Republicans are having a field day. They like, put them up on the screen. Let's show them. They plaster them all over the place, especially Mamdani. That's not an order today, just like you pointed. Why? Because they know that even though New York might go for him, America won't. And in a general election, you are going to fall if you are anti-America, if you are anti-capitalism, and you want to embrace extreme leftism and socialism. But they want you scared to say that. You're not scared, and I can assure you I could give less than a damn.
There you go.
That wasn't that's one of the audio cuts. There was another audio cut that I got to find it.
All right.
Because they were talking about Buttigieg.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the polling on it and said Buttigieg has 0 black support. And Stephen A. Smith said, "Oh, and I can tell you why, but I won't." And I went, I didn't think about it. I went, he's gay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. It was like, whoa, wow.
Right.
And they just moved on. But I don't think that again. But you look at somebody like Buttigieg, even that with the Jasmine Crockett's and the Mandamis.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's establishment.
Yeah.
He's part of the he was part of the Biden administration.
Exactly.
Anybody who's part of the Biden administration, sorry.
Yep.
You know, we want socialist Marxists. That's what I sense is happening inside the Democratic Party right now.
Mm-hmm.
On our website, RedEyeRadioShow.com. Show info with stations, podcasts, and more. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. All right, I found it. Okay, I found the other audio cut I wanted to get from Bill Maher the other night.
Okay.
I played the wrong one, but still it was a good one.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. But here we go. This was when they started talking about among Democratic primary voters that 16% would support Buttigieg, and that was the lead. He was in the lead.
Yeah.
And this is how this continued. Here we go.
Democratic primary voters, 16% would support Buttigieg. That's the highest of any candidate. Pete Buttigieg.
I don't believe it.
Wait.
I think that's just a poll number. I can't see that happening.
Well, okay, but wait. 16%. Black voters, 0. 0. You don't usually see 0 anywhere. 0's low.
For who? What is this?
For Buttigieg. Okay, explain that. I mean, why do black voters have this? I mean, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's under-indexing a little bit with the black voters, yeah.
A little. What is that all about?
He doesn't move us. I respect the man. I've interviewed him before. Very nice man, highly intelligent. But you got to be able to move us, bro. He doesn't move us. Well, you can speculate as to why that is. I'm not going there. He doesn't move us.
You know, I'm not going to go there.
He just did.
He just
by saying I'm not going to go there.
Right. He can speculate. I'm not going to go there. What he's thinking of is because Pete Buttigieg is gay.
Right. Right.
What's the other reason? Why couldn't you go there?
Well,
you can't go there because if you go there as somebody who is still viewed as somebody on, I don't know, where is he viewed now? The left has to hate him, Stephen A. Smith now.
Right.
But the fact is he would be viewed as homophobic if he said that.
Right. Well, and remember, during his initial rise, Buttigieg was criticized, saying, why are you trying to make it look like you and your husband are just normal? Remember that? You're just having a
from the
normal,
left.
From the left.
From the left, yeah, right.
Why
yes.
are you trying to make it? Why are you trying to look like you're just normal? You should be. I don't know what they were calling for him to do. Be more involved in gay activism. I don't know, but they were saying, you're wearing the sweater and the tie and the, what are you trying to do here? And it's the left can't have that. You've got to be, I don't know. In that case, I have no idea because the rules change by the minute.
He wasn't listening. He was listening to Seeger instead of the Pet Shop Boys.
Right.
It's
exactly.
They're the ones with the but that's the point that we talk about in identity politics. Oh, I saw something yesterday about where somebody was talking about Trump being racist or homophobic or something like that, and they said it was Jim Garrity from National Review. Yeah. And he was saying, Trump doesn't care whether you're gay or not. He goes, Trump only cares whether you agree with him. Right. I said, but that's probably most politicians. And he goes, he doesn't care. If you agree with him, he loves you. If you don't, and I'm like, well, that's like any politician out there. What politician likes it when you disagree with him? But it was pretty interesting because I guess I didn't see the full context of it, but from the defense of it, somebody was calling Trump homophobic for some reason, and I guess I wouldn't be Richard Grenell.
Yeah.
Who's part of the administration.
Right.
Who else on the cabinet? Oh. I got mind blank here. Bessent. Scott Bessent is
gay. Okay.
Yeah, he's the Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, which we'll talk about him coming up. Yeah, he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
See how focused we are? I had to Google it. See how focused we are on your race and sexuality here because we as conservatives are obsessed with your identity?
Right.
I had to look it up.
Well, to me, it's all about what are you going to be doing in that role? What are your ideas? Where are your convictions? And so that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Your background, for me, only pertains to your experience in governing or your plan for governing. And it's the left is obsessed with it. They're obsessed with it at every turn.
Well, the interesting thing is what you were talking about is the left saying that if you're gay, then you have to act gay. Right?
Right.
And
what does that mean? Where's the standard?
Well, the standard would be if you're black, you have to vote Democrat or you're betraying your race. Or you're not truly black unless you vote Democrat.
Right.
Because identity politics sets up a ton of different stereotypes and says you need to fit this stereotype. And if you don't, then you're rejected by us. That's the whole point of identity politics.
Right. Exactly. And that's
instead of saying, well, you're an individual.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna judge you by your character. We're in talk radios, by the substance of your argument on it. That's why and I'm still not happy with the Republican Party, by the way. Still not happy how they really haven't thrown identity politics back in the face of the Democrats. And I mean, there should be an all-out assault from in the arena of ideas of the Republican Party to say, Democrats are racists. And when that happened, whoever was talking, whatever, at that point, because I remember, I don't know who particularly said at that point, but they should have been called out.
Yeah.
Well, they don't seem gay. Oh, and so Republicans are the
right.
Republicans are the homophobes, huh?
Right.
But they on identity politics, and we've talked about this for a long. I'm still not happy. They should throw it back right in their face, not in the defensive mode, though, being on the offense. Republicans should constantly talk about the racism of identity politics. Mm-hmm. The racists are. I would be blunt. Well, I've said it on the air. Democrats are the racists.
Yeah.
Don't wait to defend yourself to say that. Be on the offense. The difference, if you want to know the difference between Republicans and Democrats, Democrats are racist based on identity politics. And here are the Democrats that have talked about the problem of identity politics. Everyone knows. There isn't anybody listening right now that if you walk and you say, if you judge a person by the group they're in instead of an individual, that's a 97-3 issue. I got that from Trump.
Yeah.
Remember Trump said 97-3?
Yeah.
Forget about 80-10 or 90 or 80-20 or 90-10. That is a 97-3 issue.
With a 5% margin of error.
But I really think on identity politics, it's gold right now to, if you're a Republican, to be able to use that argument. And for some reason, why are they hesitating? Why do they hesitate?
I don't know.
This is something that they should absolutely. If I was a consultant for the Republican Party, I'd say stop being on the defensive about this stuff.
Yeah.
Stop being on the defensive. You know, I can look and I can disagree with your politics. I can disagree with your individual morality, but I'm not going to stereotype you by the group that you're in.
Right, right.
Unless it's a political group that expresses specific ideas that you're a part of, and then I'll question you whether you agree with all those ideas or not. And you and I have talked about this before, that's where it forces somebody to not, become tribal, but defend individually the issues that they believe. You and I've said it before, and it's normal to us, and we see the tribalism out there that still exists, and we reject it. We reject it every single day. I can vote for somebody yesterday and disagree with them today. And I can look at an issue and say, yeah, I voted for, I voted for this person, but I disagree with this, and this. Well, then why'd you vote for them? Because I disagree with his opponent. I disagree with him 10% of the time or 20% of the time. I disagree with him 99.9999999% of the time.
Yeah.
That's how I come to my decision making.
Yeah.
And makes sense. Most people vote that way. But the identity politics of the left, which is destroying the Democratic Party, the victim-oppressor relationship and putting people in groups that are oppressors and victims, critical race theory, the radical transgender movement.
Yep.
That is destroying the Democratic Party.
Yep.
It's dividing people. And rule number one of any political party anywhere in the world is to grow the party by what? Unifying on issues. It's how Trump won.
Yep.
Trump unified in his first term. He unified the people on identifying the problems. And in his second term, not only did he identify the problems, but he told you we're going to fix them by doing this, 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 and this. And people said, I like that. And was it easier? Because the Democratic Party is a party that says, we're not even going to try to solve problems. We're going to create problems.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe it was easier. Maybe in another time, the way that they had set up Trump would have never been able to regain power again. The internet, the internet, the opposition, information being able to get out, maybe like it wouldn't have been out 60, 70 years ago. Maybe that all helped Trump. But the fact is, the transparency of everything, because of the internet, much easier for Republicans to win.
Yeah, right. By the way, here it is from, almost 6 years ago, September of 2019, from NBC News. The headline, Buttigieg, and a quote, "I can't even read the LGBT media anymore." And here's what he says, a quote from the story. "It's tough for me to know, right, because I just am what I am. And, there's this is, again, a quote, there's going to be a lot of that," basically the criticism from the LGBTQ. "That's why I can't even read the LGBT media." Oh, that's so 2019. They didn't put the Q in. "Can't even read the LGBT media anymore because it's all, he's too gay, not gay enough, wrong kind of gay." That's what was going on.
I know, yeah.
In the fall of 2019.
I'm glad you did the research on it so everybody knows we're not blowing smoke.
Right. That's because it's important. It's just like when we bring up Obama under my plan of cap and trade, electricity rates will necessarily sky. We get people that, that never happened.
It happened, yeah.
No, it was a real thing.
Obama ran for office telling you, I'm going to skyrocket your electricity prices.
That's right.
Oh, yep. Let's vote for that guy.
Yep. And Pete Buttigieg isn't gay enough. Wow. I mean,
I like the
wrong kind of gay?
The wrong kind of gay.
What? Seriously.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm the wrong kind of red-blooded heterosexual man, I think.
I think that probably would accurately, I don't know what it means, but it would accurately describe me. He's the wrong kind of heterosexual. What? Okay.
I remember when I used to do goes back 35 years ago when I was in Rockford, Illinois, working at our great affiliate, WROK.
Yeah.
And I used to do a sexuality update. This is in the 90s, early to mid-90s. And I always played the chorus of the Canadian band, The Odds, Heterosexual Man.
Oh, yeah.
And I never read the lyrics. And some columnist did and went, and McNamara's a misogynist pig with the chorus of it.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful which songs you
exactly.
use, you know?
I was young and foolish back then.
Well.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. The Babylon Bee.
Oh,
the
boy.
telltale signs of dangerous authoritarianism. You ready?
All right.
Couple of them here. Someone you don't like won an election because more people voted for him. This should never be allowed to happen in a democracy. People are walking around smiling and enjoying their lives, those poor, uninformed victims of oppression. Now, these are all the telltale signs of an authoritarian regime. A TV show that lost $40 million a year got canceled. What are late night shows supposed to be doing now? Be funny?
Yeah, exactly.
Literal concentration camps are being built in the imagination of journalists. Few things are more terrifying than literal imaginary things. Now, I disagree with this one, especially the first part of it. A super hot actress did an ad for jeans. No one wants to live in a world where they have to look at attractive people.
Yeah.
Super hot.
Super hot. Attractive, we'll just say that.
Yes. Telltale signs of an authoritarian regime. Police are trampling on the rights of hardworking carjackers and muggers. True freedom means never being arrested. You know, some of these, you look at it, there's more truth than parody.
No, I was actually, as you were reading it, I was like, you know, especially the part of these poor, uninformed individuals. That's actually how the left is acting.
Another sign of an authoritarian regime, Jews are openly welcomed on university campuses. How far has the education system fallen? Funding for Iraqi Sesame Street is cut. Food stamps no longer allowed to be used for Skittles. Fascists are waging a war on the rainbow in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And finally, people you disagree with get to say stuff too. How can anyone think this is fair?
But actually, you know what? That last point is so big. In its simplicity, lines out what has happened in recent years with basically Elon Musk taking over Twitter, turning it into X, and guess what? Both sides get to post an opinion without one side being shut down or banned. And the left, it goes back to what I've said several times. The left believes that, or believed at that point, that they had won everything. You know, with Obama, they won the White House forever. With social media, they won the conversation because they can shut down the opposition, that they had won it. And the moment that changes, because if you think about, you know, Trump is bold, Trump is, you know, kind of in your face and very direct, but now everybody else is too, right? Nobody's doing the, you know, John Boehner, we don't like messy thing. We're trying to, well, if we just would consider blah, 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 and our friends across the aisle and no. No, you hear it from different members of his administration and in the Republican Party. We love playing Senator John Kennedy, you know, and that is being very direct, being very blunt, and there's no way to counter, you know, it's sorry, but it's really, really hard to debate with people like J.D. Vance and Ramaswamy. And that idea, I know, has to drive the far left so crazy that they can't just shut down the conversation. Keep in mind, they don't want the conversation. They just want to be loud. They don't want to have a conversation about the issues. And so if they thought that it was done by, you know, shutting down Twitter, shutting people off and everything else, then in the age of bringing a voice back, bringing the opposition's voice back, that has to be devastating to them.
You know, you and I have said this before, to anybody who is unsure, you know, people in the middle. Here's one sign you should look at. Why does the majority of the right absolutely crave what the opposition is saying and wants to promote it, and the left wants to shut down everything from the right?
Right.
Look, Gutfeld, right, he was on Fallon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the left is
the left
over the top
ballistic about it. Wait a minute. If somebody is insane, if you think somebody is nuts and crazy and is wrong on all the issues, you want them on.
Right.
And you want those hosts to destroy them.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Because if they're crazy and insane, it's going to be easy to demonstrate that and to destroy them right there And they don't want them talking at all.
And
why is that?
The right loves. The right survives right now. Excuse me, not survives. The
thrives. I would think. Yeah.
Right. The right thrives right now.
Yeah.
Like never before on the opinions of the left.
Yeah.
That's what is driving the incredible explosion today of the more right media.
Yeah.
It's not because we're not coming up with any new concepts that we didn't believe last week, the week before,
right,
2 years ago, 5 years ago. We haven't changed our opinion on anything.
No.
It's like, oh, the show's really popular. Well, because there's new material every day. So you guys come up with new material every day? No, they do.
The left does. We just walk in and sort through it.
Well, at times, and we've said it, at times it's like, I was thinking about it earlier today in the beginning of the show. We played a ton of audio cuts, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm not doing my job because I'm playing the audio cuts, but the audio cuts feed the entire discussion, and it really is like, it's really like if, and who knows, the left may go here someday, we think adults should be playing sports against children. It's almost like that at times.
Yeah.
It really is. It's almost as if, not that I ever feel guilty because of the time we put in, but I do expect someday, I feel guilty, like I don't have to work at all anymore. I just walk in and they feed me. They're feeding you the one-liners.
Yeah. No,
and they're the easiest things. They're throwing. You've got the worst pitcher, to do a sports analogy, the worst pitcher that's throwing you a 30-mile-an-hour fastball.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's like, and it's like you're hitting home runs every time, saying,
right,
I'm really great, I'm really great, I'm really great. Look how great I am.
Right?
No, not really. You're not that great. They just really suck.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. But look at the Babylon Bee, for example. Everything we just read there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not parody.
No, I mean, it's as you're reading it, I'm like, no, that's actually what's going on.
We're calling out the Babylon Bee.
Yeah.
We need to call.
Stop doing news.
We need.
I mean, it's funny, but the news is funny. Hey, you know what it is? We're jealous that they also get off easy, too, because we, as you just pointed out, it writes itself. The liberals just deliver it to us every day. And for them at the Babylon Bee, maybe that's the underlying concern. We're just jealous that, no, in all truthfulness, they're very brilliant over there, the writers at Babylon Bee. But the lines they're using are straight from the left.
We need to charge
straight
them
from the news.
But we need to charge them with fraud. They say that they're a parody website.
I feel defrauded.
I feel defrauded. I'm reading it. Every one of them is funny, but it's like, well, no, but that's real. No, but that's real. And the funny thing is, remember a couple of years ago when the Babylon Bee recognized it themselves?
Yes.
And they just went, oh, my God, you're getting more truth from us
right.
than parody now.
And by the way, Seth and the crew over at Babylon Bee, if you're listening.
Great job.
Yes, great job. And in our grievance here, and because we do feel defrauded by the Babylon Bee, we think a fair settlement is a couple of Babylon Bee T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd wear that.
So would I.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, their lead headline. You ready for the lead headline? Trump heads to Alaska to negotiate historic truce between humans and bears. And then the one next to it, Gavin Newsom vows to double California's violent crime if Trump doesn't stop cleaning up D.C. J.B. Pritzker joins police force in hopes of getting a sandwich thrown at him. Yes, it's a weight thing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
Why are you wearing a catcher's mitt, Mr. Pritzker? Oh, my gosh. That's
and then sometimes they can get just very blunt and insulting.
Yeah.
Ready for this one?
Okay.
Adam Schiff worried legal troubles will make it hard for him to afford his upcoming head reduction surgery.
I can only partly laugh because, frankly, I could use some head reduction surgery too. So I have a huge noggin. I love it.
No.
It's funny. What?
No.
What?
That's where all your critical thinking comes from, the larger brain.
Yeah, I don't know what's in there, but it's a lot of it, whatever it is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we want you to have. We want you to have. Your big head is not conceit.
I'll tell you
it's
this.
critical. It's critical thinking, extra critical thinking availability in your cerebrum.
I destroy pillows by the dozen. I'll tell you that right now. It's just disintegrated. I have a huge head. Yeah. It's
my throat and my lungs hurt a little bit today from laughing.
Oh my gosh,
so
from the
much.
laughter.
It really does.
No, it's.
I'm sore.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We can demonstrate that we've been injured by the Babylon Bee.
and not being parody.
That's right. It is but that's I just sometimes in my mind, and that huge head, wonder about, if you, I don't know, woke up from a 20-year coma, or you came here from another planet, or whatever, if you had no knowledge of the political climate in America and much of the Western world for the far left, but right here in the States, and then all of a sudden you were exposed to it. Because you say these things, because sometimes my mom, when I'm there, she'll ask me, so, like on something like this, so do I have this right? They want the crime in D.C.? Well, Mom, apparently so. They don't want the cops there. They don't want something done about it. But who would want crime? Well,
It's
Mom,
funny that you use the imagery of a mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom's been gone over 5 years now. And I always think about, and she really paid attention to politics.
Yeah.
And I would get those questions back that, well, I don't understand. Why would you hold this position, Gary? And she was like, she wanted, and you understand this, she would want an answer that would make sense.
Right.
And you could never give it to her.
Well, and I
like
think
you're
about explaining it to your mother,
Right.
Because, as their child, you've had many situations where you've had to explain something to Mom. But wait, help me out here. What?
Yeah.
So they want the crime?
And I think if my mom was around today, all the issues, the questions she would be asking me, as if she wants me to make it clear to her why, and I can't do it.
Is this like when back in the 70s the kids would say, "Hey, that's bad," but they meant it's good? Is it that?
Oh,
is crime cool now? Is that what all the kids are doing? Should I call my great grandkids, because I need to know if they're on this trend?
Eric, I don't understand it. 90% say crime is a terrible problem in Washington. 90%. And I heard it came from the Washington Post.
Right.
I mean, they're all liberal. They know the problems there, and all the politicians are saying.
I mean, I heard Joe Scarborough said it.
They're not a problem.
Right.
No, I know that's never happening from your mother.
Well, I know that. Well, she heard, which means somebody told her. She didn't actually watch it.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was careful to phrase it that way. Mom's watching Fox News, and I'm telling you right now, it's almost 24/7. The TV's always on. But yeah, that's how bad it is.
Why, Eric, Gary? What? I don't understand. Why would somebody want crime?
Why?
With that innocence, like I explained it to me. It doesn't make any sense. I actually get that from my sister now.
Yeah.
I get that from my sister.
And my mom will
She'll
just
say,
shake her head.
Gary, I heard this. This doesn't make any sense. I go,
Yeah.
I know.
I know. We know.
I don't have an answer
Welcome
for you.
to our world.
Right, I don't have any answer. I wish I did. 866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. A supporting document is a document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, including receipts for meals, lodging, and fuel, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, some economic numbers out yesterday that we haven't had a chance to get to, that we will following the bottom of the hour. Plus that story on the Toronto Film Festival canceling the October 7th documentary, citing a lack of legal clearance from Hamas terrorists. I mean,
wow.
These are the kind of These are the kind of headlines that are horrible. I mean, the fact that they're happening is horrible. But you have to admit that when you read that headline, you're like, it can't be true, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like my mom going,
right.
Why would they need this from the terrorists?
Why would they need Eric? Do the terrorists, do they have lawyers?
Weren't they committing atrocities?
Does Sam, who's got that big hammer, does he work for Hamas or something,
right.
and he can sue them? Or
what's going on?
They live the life. They walk the walk. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. All right, some economic numbers in yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They could be better.
It could be better. It's interesting to me, the miss on the median forecast for wholesale inflation. The producer price index came in for July. The estimate, the median forecast was at 0.2%, and it came in at 0.9%. That's a huge miss. That's 4.5 times what they thought it was going to be. Core PPI, the median forecast at 0.3, and it came in double that at 0.6. PPI year over year was up to 3.3%, and core PPI year over year was 2.8%. Now, the question is, what happens between this? This is, again, wholesale inflation. And is this it typically is kind of a forecast or will tell you what's going to come for the consumer, the consumer price index or inflation. And that's what everybody is looking at. And yesterday, the markets responded. They did pair a lot of the losses yesterday, and basically the market came in flat. In fact, flat on all three: the Dow Jones, the S&P, and NASDAQ. In the morning when the report came out, it was like, whoa! And there was a couple 100-point drop across the board. But again, the question would be, what is going to be the long-term impact of, the economic policy, the tariffs, what's going on with trade right now? Interesting article, by the way, in the Wall Street Journal that kind of relates to this, and that is that, people aren't switching jobs. Here it is. Nobody's buying homes. Nobody's switching jobs. And America's mobility is stalling. Well, because when you and I look at the churn rate for employment, you can tell when it's a real healthy, vibrant situation with employers when you have a lot more people switching jobs. What that means that those companies are enticing through incentives, better pay, whatever it might be, and attracting people, that are either employed now or maybe unemployed, but for the most part, they are employed somewhere. So no one is switching jobs here at the core of this Wall Street Journal, and they're not buying homes. Well, buying homes has to do with a number of things. Inflation rate, number one, because people, and there's been several stories on this in the recent weeks, and that is when if you want to upgrade, people in our age group, sometimes, okay, finally time to get our forever home, our retirement home, the home we want and settle in. And the older people aren't doing that because they don't want to take on, if there's an upgrade in the premium and the cost of the home, which means you're going to finance some of that quite possibly. And you don't want to pay those higher interest rates. I mean, we haven't paid these interest rates in a while. And so all of that, goes back to the economy. And if it's stagnated, and then you look at the jobs thing, you were telling me during the break, that earnings, weren't great as well. The pay,
the individual wages only
wages, yes,
right. Well, individual. Let me get it here. Sorry, I didn't know you're going to. Real average hourly earnings have risen only 1.2% over the last 12 months. They for July. 0.1% in July, after 0 in June, and then the 0.4% monthly growth in May and March also happened. But you average those all out for the last 12 months, it's 1.2% over the last 12 months, which would indicate that even though there has been inroads and drastic inroads from the Biden administration made on inflation, that still average hourly wages are not keeping up to the inflation rate as of right now.
Right.
I also, when you look at this, and just so people know, the producer price index is what businesses paid to get stuff last month.
Yes.
So that's what businesses paid. So last month it skyrocketed. The consumer price index released Tuesday only was up 0.2% monthly and 2.7% for the last 12 months. The indication is, since both were July, that the companies have not passed those costs onto the consumer yet.
Right.
And you could tell, Scott Bessent must have been warned about this, because really for the last week he's been saying things like companies, not consumer, as the president's been out there saying basically foreigners pay for the tariffs. His own Treasury Secretary said, no, companies are paying for it, but it hasn't reached consumers yet. In fact, he posted 2 days ago, companies, not consumers, have been bearing the cost of tariffs. Well, most of them so far.
Yeah.
With continued corporate margins. Well, that's what he said. Companies, not consumers, have been bearing the cost of tariffs. So, as we've always stated with it, that you cannot increase the cost of doing business and have a positive effect. Your positive effect may be to bring those jobs back to the United States, but the economic effect will hit the United States. And it will either be, as we have stated, a combination of the three things of less economic growth. And if companies are bearing the cost, that means less profit. That means less economic growth for those companies. The possibilities of layoffs and then increase in prices. We've seen increase in prices on some things, but across the board we haven't seen it yet. But then, as you pointed out the other day, the major tariffs, including the ones on China, really haven't hit yet.
Yeah, I mean,
none is
where we started, and the talk and the discussion on those numbers never really came to fruition, or hasn't yet. And China was delayed again for 90 days. So we haven't seen the massive impact that it would be if everything had gone into effect as promised from the beginning.
But I think what really is worrying here, and again, these are things to watch. We do not, the administration does, we do not make final conclusions on 1 month of statistics.
No.
Now, what does bother me is the past 12 months with the average hourly wage.
Yeah.
That's over a 12-month period. That's 1.2%. That is a concern right now. But if the cost goes up for companies, and if it's anything in the ballpark, or even let's say they're 50% off, and it was only 0.4 or 0.5%, not 0.9, that's still huge.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a raise. You're more likely to be laid off. But these here, goods and services both experienced substantial inflation, 0.7% for goods, for services, 1.1%.
Wow.
Now, over a period of a year, that would be 13% inflation on services. Wow. Now, it's not, but I mean, that's just that they extrapolate it out that way. That's they always do it. But goods and services, this is a concern right here. Again, something to watch, not final conclusions. Goods and services related to business investment in particular are becoming pricier. Look at this, Eric. The cost of manufacturing equipment rising 0.4% in 1 month, and related services 4.5% in 1 month.
Wow.
If you extrapolated that out, that would be over a 50% inflation rate. Now, that's not going to last.
Right.
We don't have a 50% inflation rate.
No.
As you and I have said before, when you look at the overall economy and what has been brought in tariffs, it's less than 1% of the GDP.
Yeah.
But for intermediate goods, prices for intermediate goods, components and raw materials, also on the rise. Prices for materials used in durable goods manufacturing increased 1.3% in a single month.
Wow.
Components for manufacturing increased 0.4%. Percent. And again, that's the challenge that you have. But the number that bothers me the most in this, because it's over a period of a year, is real average hourly wages only rising 1.2% over the last 12 months. Our point has always been, and again, we don't deal with, month to month as the final be-all, end-all. The administration did last month, remember, on the deficit.
Yeah.
Look at this. We've solved the deficit problem. No, you didn't. And all of a sudden the deficit comes in the other day for the month of July, and what was it, 20% over the month before, and we've spent 100, and even including all the tariffs, we still were in debt over $110 billion more this year than last year. And that's the concern. To us, this isn't political, it's economic. We don't care who does it.
Right.
Economics is what matters. I can't change economics. You can't change economics. You can change, and you can have policy that changes an economy, but you cannot change economics, which is how people respond to incentive. Nobody can.
No.
It's been tried in every type of socialist country in the world. You can't do it. It's impossible. You may try to hide it if you fudge the numbers or whatever. Fudge the numbers either way has been an accusation from Trump. The evidence there on the unemployment isn't there. But when you see, for example, the increase, especially in manufacturing, when you see the wage growth of 1.2%, if the pressure is being felt by corporations, the whole goal of the tariffs, the number one goal was to bring back manufacturing. And over the last 3 months, we've lost, I forgot, was it 20-something thousand manufacturing jobs? And that's why we've asked now, because the original goal of what we were told tariffs were for is not the goal that has been promoted over the last couple of weeks, which is we're raising revenue, which to us as lifelong conservatives, the Republican Party, championing and celebrating taxes on American companies.
Yeah, no. At the expense of the economy. It's
the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
You'll never be able to sell that to me.
You can't sell it to conservatives. And I'm telling you right now, you have the populist portion, and that would be the young influencers that every time you see them out there, all the, whether it's the Charlie Kirks or the Sorbers or the Dohertys on X, whatever. Look at what we're raising. Look at what we're raising. Look at what we're raising. They're not fiscal conservatives. They're populists who are looking to promote a false political idea. There's a ton of conservatives out there right now, and many of them listen to us right now, and they don't buy into the fact that when you increase the cost of doing business, it's a complete and total positive for an economy.
Right.
They know that's a load, as we like to say very nicely, of horse doo-doo.
And, especially in the wake of the promise to keep spending, basically, when you look at that, it's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? How did we get to the big government celebration parade?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we're also concerned. We're questioning. We're also concerned about a government stake in Intel.
Yeah, I don't even know what that looks like.
Or the NVIDIA, if they sell across the seas, the United States government gets a cut. Well, none of this makes sense at all.
Well, that's the thing, is that there needs to be more conversation, more information coming from the administration on how these things are going to work. What are we talking about here? Taxes on these special taxes on the companies?
Yeah.
The government taking ownership in part of the companies? We're doing rev share now with companies?
No.
Explain it.
The best idea was someone said, I might be able to handle it if Trump did it, but if the Democrats get in charge and that's the president,
that's my concern.
Screwed.
Yes, exactly.
866-90-RED-I.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. Do it not today. Do it now. Forget about
now.
Today's too far away. I know today's today, but today implies later on. Do it now. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, because the show ends in an hour, and then it becomes on our app and a whole bunch of other places. It becomes our podcast.
That's right.
And so you can listen. In fact, I suggest you listen to the first hour of the show.
You're going to love it.
If
you didn't hear it. And if you did, go listen again.
Pure insanity.
Oh.
And it was actually football related, too, in a way, right?
That's right.
Football related?
Yeah, 'tis the season.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.